Hi, everybody. Welcome to our virtual meeting tonight, our webinar for Dental Buying Group and Henry Schein this evening. My name is Gavin Mohan. I'm the marketing partner and IT support for these webinars. I'm going to be here in the background just to help make sure that everyone gets their questions answered and that everything is streaming A-OK. If you haven't joined us before, what we like to do is we like to pose all the questions in the Q&A box for the speaker. And then if anyone has any comments or answers or feedback, please go ahead and use the chat room. I'll be in there chatting with all the attendees. And if any questions end up in there, I'll make sure it gets posed to today's speaker as well. I think that's all the technical stuff we need to go over. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Dr. Dave Burnham from the Dental Buying Network, and he can go over today's webinar. Dave?
Hey, thanks, Gavin. We're excited to sponsoring Ted in this presentation with Henry Schein as well for his software, SafeCom. Ted's going to be going through some of the ins and outs of, it's an imaging software that integrates pretty much everything you want under one roof. Works pretty seamlessly. I recently switched to it myself. I've been pretty happy. So I can give some feedback if anyone's interested on that. Ted is the creator and supporter and the brains behind the whole thing. So we're lucky to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, how the software works and what benefits it has. And so that's all I'm going to chime in for now. And I'll just turn the time over to Ted.
Great. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks, Gavin. I do not see the participants on the list here, Gavin. So I'm just going to wait, I guess, if somebody has any question or anything, you let me know. So thanks, everyone who is attending. My name is Ted Kaltani. I'm with Henry Schein. Henry Schein, as you all know, is one of the largest manufacturers in North America. Henry Schein One is what brings all the technology together for Henry Schein, and that's why I want to start with this slide first to just explain what Henry Schein One is. As the name kind of tells, is that Henry Schein wanted to put all the different products together and make it as seamless as possible, so the user, the dentist, has a easy choice to bring different technologies together as in one in your practice. So that has been kind of the mentality of Henry Schein for the longest time, that technology needs to back up our customers and need to be on upfront number one in order to help the customers progress and benefit from the newest technologies in the market. So if you look at different offices today, there is all scattered devices and softwares in dental offices. One is doing the imaging, one is doing billings, one maybe archiving, something else for inventory control. Everything is scattered. So the Henry Schein One purpose is to bring all these technologies together and put them into one umbrella. So that will save the customers a lot of time. You will make it more efficient, and you will make it be able to know exactly the status of every single thing that goes in the office with simple steps. So that's the whole purpose of the Henry Schein One. And this slide, I love this slide because it does show exactly the mentality of the company, and not because I work for Henry Schein, but I think it's one of the greatest thing that I've seen in the last 20, 25 years I've been with Henry Schein. So one of and I will only stay 2-3 minutes on this, and I will go into the program, the imaging program, and the details. But one of the things that has made Henry Schein one of the biggest thing in North America is Dentrix. Dendrix is the practice management. Many of you will know. It shows that we have over 36,000 locations in North America. In my opinion, we have a lot more than that, but that's kind of a number that is I can agree with. It's one of the most powerful management software in North America from different perspectives. Doctors that are in Dendrix, they love it. They'll never see anything else out there because it just does things in a way, in a very powerful way, and it keeps you in the know and on top of everything you do in the practice. Dentrix is just one of the products. There's many other products like Ascend, which is a cloud-based software that soon is coming to Canada. There's other different packages that we have, the ortho packages and self tracing packages. So there's a lot of other products that they're all sometimes labeled as Dentrix, but the Henry Schein one kind of brings them all together. The newest thing with Dentrix or our Henry Schein one is the Dentrix integration with Smart Image. So this was a probably a few years work of actual Dentrix, or the Henry Schein one, let's call it, and a lot of developers from our company, Henry Schein, that wanted to put a different way of integrating all the different technologies in the market. As I said earlier, one of the biggest problem is you have some technology in the practice right now. For example, you may have a Planmeca 2D pen, you may have a 3-shape impression scanner, you may have some other product. This product, some of them, especially the new ones, especially the 3D products, are very, very specific and sophisticated for a third-party software to be able to run them. So, example, if you have a 3D scan, that 3D machine, or whoever is the manufacturer that built that 3D machine, needs to acquire that machine. No other software can run it because things are very specific and the liability is very high. So when you look at it that way, there is no 2D imaging software that can say that, well, we can run or scan directly with a, let's call it with a 3-shape scanner, or with a Planmeca 3D or a Sirona 3D machine. Is the Galaxies or the 3D software that is built by Sirona that needs to acquire that 3D. So what Dentrix Smart Image does is that it brings these technologies together, so you don't have to worry about what product of what manufacturer you would buy. Henry Schein is a dental distributor, and we have a lot of different partners, especially in the high-tech market. We have Planmeca, we have Sirona, we have Cavo. So all these big manufacturers, they all have beautiful devices. We don't want to limit any customer to what products they buy. By limiting, meaning that if you have a certain software that can only work with one type of product, one manufacturer, what if you decide to buy a product from a different manufacturer? So that's where Smart Image comes in play, because Smart Image can integrate all these technologies using AI and using newest technologies in the market and put them all together in one platform. So if you are lucky to have Dendrix, and I say that because I do believe it's the best product in the market, you can take care of the Smart Image, so you don't have to choose technologies anymore. So another piece of that Henry Schein one is SafeCom Image, which integrates directly into the Smart Image, but it can also run as a standalone. Now, in cases where it runs as standalone is when you don't have Dentrix, so you're running a different management software, SafeCom Image will run directly from your management software. Of course, it's not going to have the integration in the management part or in a management chart the way it does with Dentrix, but it will allow you, SafeCom will allow you to bring the different imaging technologies together from 2D, 3D, and so on, so you can create a similar environment for the different technologies you want to bring in. Again, the purpose of Henry Schein is not a specific product, is the large picture of making the customer happy, making the customer integrate any product that they desire that will make their life better and more efficient. So SafeCom integrates by using image standards, and this is for people that are a little bit on the technical side. They would really appreciate that. Why? Because until recently, most of the imaging softwares, the 2D softwares, and there's many of them, they only work with certain devices through what's called API, Application Programming Interface. What the APIs are some proprietary piece of software built by certain specific manufacturers that you can only connect to their devices. What is the problem with an API? API is proprietary. So if the API is not updated and the customer has a software with a lower version, when you buy a new product, even from the same manufacturer, that API that you have, it may not work because that's not an imaging standard. It's only proprietary to that particular device manufacturer. So that's why when we started building SafeCom, SafeCom inherited a lot of features from another product we had, which was called CaptureLink, that was built 25 years ago. And it was into more than 4,000 customers in Canada. We inherited a lot of features from CaptureLink because our customers told us it's a very easy to use software and it does what they need to do when it comes to imaging. But of course, 20 plus years later, things have changed with imaging. A lot of things have changed with Microsoft, with Apple, with all the different big operating systems. So that's why we had to make changes to comply with all these changes in the imaging industry. So standards in imaging has been around for a long time. They didn't come today, they didn't come yesterday. What are these imaging standards? These are the standards that allow you to connect one device from any manufacturer to any application. So easy way to understand that is, if you ever use the Photoshop, for example, Photoshop is a generic imaging software, one of the best in the whole imaging industry. Photoshop is a standalone software. If you buy a product from Sirona or from another vendor, is there a standard that can connect the device directly to your Photoshop? Probably not. Probably it is. Well, there is standards. There is a Twain standard. Twain is the first standard, imaging standard that was built from, if I'm not mistaken, 1994, and it started growing with different versions because the people that actually built it were people from the largest imaging companies, from Philips to Kodak and GE. All the big imaging manufacturers got together on a non-profitable organization called Twain.org, and they built that image standard for that very purpose. So instead of customers using proprietary communication with devices, they would use a standard that will allow them to connect to any device with that standard, with a Twain. So Twain has grown to the point that it will allow devices now, with the newest version called Twain Direct, will allow devices to connect directly to imaging application without you even having to install a driver. So you can have a device running on Mac, on Windows, on Linux. You can have it running on Android. You can have any device running directly, even on a web service. So you can open like something similar to Google, have a little button there that will say X-ray, and you can actually take an X-ray. So these standards have been existent for a long time. Are they used in dental much? No, they're not. And the reason why is because every manufacturer builds that Twain interface differently. They haven't focused on that. They've been focusing on the proprietary interfaces. Not for a bad reason. It's just that sometimes is the way you're doing certain things that it takes a bit of time until things change. So we have a standardized interface for all of them. So that's why when we started building SafeCom, we thought, okay, the standards exist. Why don't we actually make a product that will use that standard? And even though the manufacturers have different interfaces, we can make our software change the behavior of that interface to make it look the same for the customer. So the whole idea is you're buying, let's pick the SCHIC 33, for example, sensor. And then tomorrow you decide to add a DEXIS sensor. They're two different vendors, but we're going to use one standard called Twain to run both of them. So in order to make the customer run both sensors, which are from different vendors, in the same template without having to touch the computer, then we have to modify their interface, the way it behaves, to make it work exactly the same. So for the user, it makes no difference. You can plug one sensor or another, to you is exactly the same. That has been the focus on our program on SafeCom Image, which I will show in a few minutes. Are there other standards that we have in imaging? Yes, there are. Windows was the first one to try and combat with Twain or compete with Twain, so they built their own Windows acquisition protocol, which is called WIA, or Windows Image Acquisition, and it's kind of a Twain, but it was more to compete with Twain than anything else. But again, that's just for Windows. Twain runs every platform. Windows Acquisition runs only on Windows platform. So that's why that is not as popular, but there is quite a few digital cameras in dental offices that's what they use, WIA. And there's other protocols that haven't been that popular, but there have been a lot of tries to bring other standards in. One other thing that is so important when using standards is the liability that is posed to the customer, to the user. One, to the vendor of the software, two, to the user. Why? Because we have Health Canada or FDA approvals for medical devices. So if you are a manufacturer of a hardware, you have to get that medical approval from Health Canada or FDA, or otherwise, if you're selling, it's illegal. So most of our, not most of our, all our vendors are approved. We do not deal with non-approved vendors, but if a product comes in that doesn't have that standard, I wouldn't even consider touching that product because it's not approved as an image or a diagnostic device by our health units, by Health Canada in our case. What is the risk with that? If you do not use standards, but you use a proprietary communication between the hardware and the software, the imaging softwares, the 2D imaging softwares from different third-party vendors that do not have a hardware of their own, they're not needing approvals from Health Canada for their imaging part. So to take an example, if you have Sirona with Sidexi software, Sirona needs to get that approval for all their devices for their imaging software, but not for another device of a different manufacturer on their software. Same thing with third-party software. If they're going to run different devices, they don't need Health Canada approval to run the devices because it is assumed that you do not change or manipulate the image that is coming from the device. That's what is the assumed on that scenario. If you are changing, and by change I mean if you're filtering an image from a non-approved medical device, that is not the correct thing to do. I don't know if you can call it illegal, but it should be almost illegal to do that. Why? Because you can get any picture and put it on Photoshop, and just by filtering that image, you may create an artifact. You may create a cavity that doesn't even exist. So that's why the image coming from an approved device should not be touched on a filtering stage from the third-party imaging software. That's not the case out there. Sometimes you see all kinds of filters that can cause an image of the same tooth, same person, same x-ray look different on one imaging software from another. So just that alone tells you that there is something that should be changed or should be different. That's why when we build SafeCom, we build it with that concept, and we're firm about it because we want to be sure that what you're receiving is the quality that is produced by the manufacturer, whichever manufacturer you purchase. It could be Sirona, Dexys, it doesn't matter, even our competitors. If you decide to buy a Kodak, for example, we don't want to touch the quality that the Kodak provides. What they provide, that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get better or less in most cases because we're producing that, we're just transferring that with a standard called Twain. So I'm not sure if I'm making that clear. If you have any questions, we can go over. This is a talk that we can go for hours. It's not something we can discuss for 5-10 minutes, but I will go into more details on the product itself. So this view here, Gavin, am I going too fast or any questions or anything, or can I continue? Okay, so this is Dentrix chart, and just wanted to show you quickly that smart image integration that was on the slides. Dendrix has created this very unique integration where you can have, let's say in this case, we have SafeCom, but you can have this Romexis software, you can have the Cavo software, all integrated together in one chart, in one platform. No other product does that because that's not a simple task to do. When I first heard about it, and I was talking to our president, Sai, at the time, and I said, wow, that's kind of like close to impossible. Why? Because it's not that easy to bring different technologies together into the same platform. And on top of that, this platform is a management software platform. But they actually did it. They did it, and knowing the developers behind it, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in technology for a long time. So it allows, as I said, to connect to SafeCom, but if I had other products, they will show up here, and all the images will be 2D, 3D, impression scanner, everything will be on that patient chart. On top of that, on the chart, you directly can tell if you have a color image for that tooth or an X-ray image. You'll tell you right there, so you can click and see it. You don't have to go and open the imaging software to see it. You can click on any image and bring it on the screen. You can put them side by side. You can zoom in and out without leaving the chart. The whole idea there is make it simple. The doctor wants to see something quick. He doesn't have to go to another program. He can see it there, even though the other program is running on the background. To the customer, it's just ease of use. You have full access to anything, intraoral X-rays, extraoral X-rays, photographs, extraoral photographs, 3D, CAD/CAM, anything you like to see. It goes even further to the point that you can actually acquire directly from, even though we're using the SafeCom on the background, you can acquire directly from Dendrix, from the management software. You can say, pick 4 bite wings, start the acquisition module. And once you take the X-rays, either on a template or non-template, the pictures that you take will be posted on the ledger automatically. So that assures that you will not miss billing for certain procedures that you see in many other products. It's very easy to miss billing for procedures, and then you find out 6 months later when sometimes you get the customer to or the patient to start arguing about those charges. The Dentrix will post the procedures from any procedure, 2D, 3D, whatever it is, directly into the ledger. You don't have to enter that manually, which is a great feature. Our customers love it. So to go now directly into SafeCom, so I can show you more of what SafeCom is all about. SafeCom is, and sometimes I refer to it as, don't look at the cover. We don't build this software for the cover, which means we don't worry much about making this icon pretty or the best looking ones. We look at the efficiency of the product. When you're looking at an imaging software, there is a lot of memory and CPU usage on the computer. So by adding fancier and bigger icons, we're taking processor time and memory from that computer. We're making your computer go slower just to make those icons look better. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to make this picture look the best in any size, shape, or form you want, and give you the tools to diagnose quickly on multiple images with the least amount of memory and the least CPU time. SafeCom is known for performance. You can run it on as many, we have 5 offices with 20, 30, 50 computers per site that run on a cloud, all running SafeCom, and you can't tell the difference of one office or one operatory running in, say, Timbuktu, and another one running where the internet is a lot faster. You can almost not tell the difference because of the way the software is designed. Now, there are a few unique things on SafeCom that are not available on any other imaging software. One is the database. That gets a little bit technical, but without technicalities or much technicalities, if you're looking at a patient on SafeCom, this is the patient. All the images are there at your fingertip. You can just scroll up and down. If you have 200-300 images, you have access to any images at any time very quickly. You can compare an image from today with an image from 10 years ago in a second by just going quick view. But these images don't need to be in SafeCom. They can be on a Mac computer, they can be on a smart device, and you will view that patient exactly the same way without even using SafeCom. This is not something you'll find on other products. If I go into the database here, SafeCom data, and I look at the patients, let's say I'm on a Mac or Linux machine, you'll see your patient exactly like that, no different, without even running SafeCom on those machines. So if I go to patient Smith John and look at his images, I'll see the images exactly the same way on that other platform without even having SafeCom. So that is totally open database structure. No other software has that. And on top of that, there are other softwares, I could say even most of them, or all of them, that have a proprietary file in their database, which means that if you look directly into the database, you will not be able to tell who this picture belonged to, what date was captured, what tooth number. You won't be able to tell anything about that image unless you're running the product that created that image. And in some of them, I'm not here to mention names because we respect competitors and everybody in the market. Some of them even encrypt the images. So when you look at the database, sometimes doctors don't even know the images are encrypted, which means that if you do not have the imaging software that you created those images, you will not be able to bring them elsewhere unless you export one at a time, which is time consuming and sometimes close to impossible because you have to move them out. And when you move them out, you lose the date on the pictures. You don't have the tooth number information. So after you bring them out, you have to import them into the other software. Then you have to re-enter the tooth number and the date and time. So if you got thousands of images, in some cases you may have 200,000 images because you've used the software for 20 years, then it's not that it's impossible, but is just not realistic. Let's put it this way. That's why we have an open database. We've had this for the last 24 years. We don't want a customer to stay with our software because it's locked up. We want the customer to be happy. And that's why it's an open database and our customers have loved it. And that's why they keep staying on Capturing or SafeCom for the longest time. So that's one thing that makes SafeCom very unique. The second thing is we don't use, it's the only software that doesn't use what's called a SQL or Access database. It doesn't use a database engine. What a database engine is a third-party product, like SQL, for example, that is built by Microsoft or Borland or some big companies that allows a workstation to acquire information from the database quickly. Because if it doesn't have that, it will take a long time to acquire an image or to see the tooth number or whatever information you need about that image or management software. Now, those engines are built, as I said, they're black boxes. They're built by third-party big companies. They're built for companies like Henry Schein, for example, or GM that have millions and millions of records, or Google, that you need that kind of power in order to receive the information. When we look at images, if you consider an image has probably 5 or 8 attributes, like date, time, tooth number, maybe modification date. If you count maybe a handful of attributes that you need to save. So because of that small amount, I don't need to put in a big engine that will slow down the server, especially when you have multiple products using the SQL server. You'll slow down the server, you'll use a lot of CPU time. When we can run that with our own little service that we build ourselves that serves only the purpose of reading the information very fast. So that allows that server to breathe. It doesn't add extra usage, and the network will be a lot faster and a lot more efficient. So those are two very unique. As far as features go, we have a few very unique features. One is on the X-ray side. As I said earlier, you can plug in any sensor that is in the market. It doesn't matter which one. We don't even need the name of that sensor. We have the exact same template. You can use an FMX18. You can use a 4-byte wing. You can have your own custom template, but it doesn't matter what sensor you buy. The interface is going to be identical. So consider for a moment if you have a sensor down and you have to get another sensor loaner and it's not the same. You don't have to retrain your stuff on how to use the other sensor because the interface will be identical. We're just going to put the same thing. We'll plug in the other sensor and you're going to run it on this template, which we call the on-the-go template. On the go because different from other softwares where you have to go back and forth if you want to take random positions in the mouth. In our program, you look at the patient before you start and you decide what pictures you're going to take and in what order you're going to take them. say you want to do 2 bite wings, this one first, that one second, and maybe 2 PAs. That's all you want. You look at the patient, that's the order you want them. You hit start, that starts the acquisition driver. This is just a simulator, so I can show you an x-ray because I can't take x-rays here. So it's prompting the user for the number 1 that he chose. So you click the x-ray button, it puts an x-ray in there, it moves to the second one, third one, but without you having to touch the computer at all. At the end, you'll save a template if you choose or not, but the whole idea here is it does not matter what device you use exactly the same on-the-go template, which will save you time in the long run. Why? Because otherwise, if you don't have a template on the go, you have a template only on a preset sequence, then you have to go back and forth to the computer to click on the next tooth in order to take an image. That's one way of taking x-rays. We also have voice activation. Voice activation works directly. Devin, I'm going to try this one more time. I don't know if he's going to have the voice or not. Voice activation will work by, I'm going to show you a little demo here with our trainer. Can you hear it? No,
A little bit, very light.
Okay. So
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
okay, I'll explain instead. So basically, the voice activation works in a similar way, but when you bring up the template, you just call the numbers. You call number 17, this becomes the receiver. So when you take a picture, it goes direct to this position, 2436 bite wing. Then you say you want to take a 1816, you go 8. You call it number 8 with a small microphone, like a wireless microphone can cost $30. It doesn't need anything fancy. It doesn't need you to train with your voice. You just call the numbers and the pictures automatically go and populate that particular location. Very easy to use. We have 2 or 3 offices that use it, not many. And the reason for that is sometimes in offices, they don't like to have the extra gadgets. Some offices that do use microphones, they love that feature. Same. So those are the 2 main features on the sensors. When it comes to phosphor plates with ScanX, for example, ScanX has been always a big, Air Technique is a big player on phosphor plate technology. And even though sometimes ScanX is referred as an analog device, it's not, it's a digital device. It's just a different way the digitization of the image occurs. Instead of having a CCD to go instantly, you have a phosphor plate that you need a laser to scan it. So with a phosphor plate with ScanX, with a 4-slot scanner, our module that runs ScanX is the only unique module in the market that allows the scanner to run 4 different scans at the same time, which means you can have pictures from 4 different operatories coming at the scanner at the same time and then be scanned at the same time. No other software does that. Let's say you have a FMX18 you're doing on a ScanX from room 1. You go into to the scanner, you start scanning from the 4 different slots. Somebody comes and needs an endo from room 1. Well, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait 10, 12 minutes until I finish my FMX from room 2 before you can do that endo. It makes no sense at all. Because on the processor, film processor, you were able to do 4 different patients at the same time. When ScanX came out, that feature was missed. It was gone. So basically, SafeCom is the only software in the market that allows the scanner to work at the best performance, to run multiple patients at the same time, scan at the same time. So if you got an endo, you're not going to wait more than 7 seconds to get that endo for your patient, even though I'm doing a full mouth exam. So for every device, we do have unique features that we've built based on customers' request. It's not that we just decided to build that way. We look at the dental office, the way an office works, and we customize our product to make the life of dentists easier. And sometimes we hear from dentists that say once they switch, because we do conversions from every single imaging software package that is in the market. And I don't really like to mention names, but every single one of them, we do convert to SafeCom. And customers that convert, they say we save at least 2-3 minutes on a patient exam because of ease of use and certain features that we have on the product. And that's why you see a customer buying SafeCom, when they had something else for 15 years and they're happy to pay, you say, oh, why? Why would you pay when you have something? Well, you're only going to make that decision to actually go to another software if it makes sense, if it does save you time and money. Otherwise, do not make that change. There's no point. The point is, if a software is not performing for you, the diagnosis is not good, it's not fast enough, it's slowing you down, you're spending too much time with the computer, that's the time to consider what you have. From the management perspective and the imaging perspective, from both of them. If the software is not making your life easier, then you want to change or look at something else that will. And that's why you want to consider or reconsider the software. We find in there our management software sales and imaging sales during the COVID increased, which was very surprising in many ways. And the reason for that is that a lot of dentists realize that how important is that time in the operatory these days. And that's why they're looking at different option solution to make that operatory time, the computer time, the smallest possible. On the camera, 2D camera, intraoral camera, microscopes, anything video, we have multiple modules. We have a module that we call the auto capture or the AI module that allows you, and it's the only one in the market that allows you to move around, do a full impression, tour of the mouth, and you can stop on any tooth when you, or crack or anything you want to see in the mouth. It will allow you to capture that image as soon as you stop on that tooth. It's very unique. Some people love it, and I'll be honest, some people don't. Why? Because it's a different way of doing the intraoral cameras. It helps a lot. The customers are buying cameras from everywhere, and the buttons don't work on the cameras because they're proprietary. By having auto capture, you're independent of that button. You don't need a button, you don't need a foot pedal. So once you grasp the concept of how that works, that is a very, very unique feature that allows you to plug in any camera in the market, into the same software without buttons, without foot pedals. That's one feature that's very unique. The second feature is not that unique, but it's a video recording that allows you to record video with high compression, so you can do a full tour of the mouth, especially for a new patient exam, and save that file on a very small size. So example, a 700 megabyte 20-30 second video, 700 megabyte, you'll turn down into about 25 megabyte. Very, very high compression for almost identical quality. Almost. It's not identical because it's compressed, but you can't tell the difference. That's how good it is. So the recording is nice because you find these days when you can't go into the operatory, just walk in anymore, it allows the customer to review a video that the assistant will do in the operatory before walking into the operatory. So if the doctor reviews, you can snap some shots from the video and he might just send a message. Messaging is another product that comes with SafeCom. Send a message to the assistant and say, I don't need to come in there, I don't see any problem. Or I will need to come and then look for, there's some cavities, I need to do some work. And again, that the dental lingo is something that I might not have the best, but you're a dentist, you understand this much better. So it does help the dentist a lot with making that decision, the video module, on when or when not to participate in a session. We also have the same features for microscopes for any type of video device. We have features for wireless cameras, Wi-Fi cameras. So instead of having a Wi-Fi, putting the picture on a memory stick and then import, export, and all that stuff, you can go directly into the patient's file with SafeCom through the Wi-Fi module. We also have coverage for every, Devin, how are we doing for time? Just so I know. So
we still have about 40 minutes.
Okay, so how much time is left? So we can leave some time for question and answers.
Yeah, so leaving 10-15 minutes, we still have half an hour left.
Okay.
And then
so the other thing is we can render any 3D model from any 3D device, being Planmeca, iCAD, whatever it is. We can build what's called a 3D DICOM or DICOM DIR directly on the program. So for example, if you go into 3D imports here, you can go and import a 3D from any 3D device, even a hospital. Say I got a Planmeca here, or I'm not sure what this are, but here, Dicom. You can bring any 3D in and render it directly on the program instead of opening it with a third party with a different software. And you can, move picture around. You can. This is not a good example. Here, this one here. So without having to have some specific hardware, you can render that whole 3D into SafeCom. You change the density. You can move the picture, look for airways, even do some measurement, even though we offer the 3D module as an ease for the customer to put all the 2D and 3D together, but not for doing the radiologist's job. If you're doing the exam on that 3D, the radiologist is, that is best to use the specific software that comes with the device. So that's for liability reasons and for accuracy. But the module it's an excellent 3D module. We call it the medical module. And especially if you're receiving 3D from different vendors, this module comes very handy, because then you don't have to have multiple programs, one for Planmeca, one for Cavo, one from Sirona, or whatever else, Kodak. You can just bring all those 3Ds in the same platform and you save them in the patient's file. So you can do the same with STLs. If you're getting impression scanning files, the STLs, you can just save them right into SafeCom, and you have them in there can organize them. And for show and tell, you can just show the patient at any time. So everything is organized under one umbrella. The other thing is we can bring in not just the 2D and 3D images, but we can also bring documents that you may not be able to save in your management software. So you can bring Excel, you can bring whatever documents that is provided for the patient, PDFs, tax documents, anything, listing documents, anything that you can't save elsewhere. You can just drop it into SafeCom under Document Center here, and you'll view them directly from SafeCom. We have other features. As I said, we have the messaging system, which is a very unique system, very simple, to the point. It just does the job beautifully. It uses colors, so you know when the message arrives. So, for example, I'm going to send to Dr. Test here. Let me clear this. I'm going to send to Dr. Test a message, patient canceled. Just by looking at the blue, if I've assigned all the hygienists to blue, I know there's an hygienist sending to me. I put the mouse over, it tells me the time and who else received the message. So it's very easy to use. The other thing is, if you don't like to be bothered when you're working on something on the screen, it's not going to stop you from looking at the other programs. For example, I'm simulating 2 ops here. If I don't want to be bothered with the messages, I can minimize it. So when somebody sends me a message, instead of interfering, it'll just give you a blinking circle here, so you know that you got messages and you can view them at your convenience by clicking on it. So there's some very quick shortcuts to make that messenger run very efficiently. Another product that we offer with SafeCom images, the file transfer. File transfer seemed to be the case for the last 10 years because of the privacy and the limitation in size that most of the email providers have. So for example, email are usually up to 25 megabyte. If you have a 3D scan, you'll easily be anything from 300 megabyte to maybe a gigabyte if you have an HD scan. So SafeCom provides a file transfer. It's very simple to use. You just create a free account and you drop anything from 3D to 2D, any documents you want in here, click next, send it to the email address you want to send it to, and it will encrypt all the files in this computer. It will send it through our secure server, encrypted, then it will only decrypt on the receiver side. So it uses end-to-end encryption So there is no middleman attack, and we can view, like that we own the servers, we can view the messages because they're encrypted at source. So end-to-end encryption for privacy reasons and to make it easy to send large files from one spot to another. Like let's say we have offices that using different management software. So for them to exchange, let's say, patient files, it's somewhat difficult because you have to choose maybe Dropbox or this and that, and then you have to question: do I really have the full privacy covered when I use a third party like a Dropbox or not? Because first, where are the servers located? Are they located in Canada or not? Which is a privacy issue. Two, are the files encrypted at the source or not? Meaning, does the person behind that server where the service is provided, is that person able to see what I'm sending or not? And that's what makes a difference between end-to-end encryption versus just having an encrypted tunnel from your computer to the servers. When you go to Google, for example, to Google Drive, you have an encrypted tunnel from your computer to the Google servers, but the information that is traveling in that channel is not encrypted. End-to-end encryption requires encryption on the source. So even though you have a tunnel that is encrypted, the information inside the tunnel travels fully encrypted. So that's the main difference. So we have that service fully integrated in SafeCom, so our customers enjoy that because they can tie in different offices and move, exchange large files with full encryption and not having to worry about using different services. As far as tools on the program, there's too many to list. We can spend another hour just explaining it. Almost any tool that you need for day-to-day operation is in the software. Reason why I can say that is because we use agile development, which means that we listen to the customer. If the customer has a request, we promise a 4-week turnaround on that feature, which is unmatched in the industry. So sometimes even 1 week, but say 4 weeks just to be on the safe side because we have to test the new versions and everything else. But that's why when a new feature comes in, it benefits a lot of customers. So that's why we listen to the requests from customers. And those requests have come down to close to almost nothing now because whoever asked us for changing or adding features, we do that and others benefit from it. So most of the tasks that you do daily in a dental office, they probably cover under tools somewhere here or under the other different menus. So, Kevin,
Yeah.
I can stop at this point and
Okay.
rather if it's any question or just to
Sure.
be
Yeah, we have a few questions.
okay.
I'll go over these ones first in the chat. You might have already covered it, but one of the questions that you might want to reiterate is how is SafeCom different than any other imaging software?
Well, that's those items that we're talking. The open database,
Yep.
Which is very unique. The not using a database engine, which makes it seamless. You don't have to have your whole office shut down because you running an installation or you're doing an upgrade. You can upgrade or you can use different versions of SafeCom in different operatories. Makes no difference. So there's no shutdown. You can back up SafeCom data almost every minute if that's what you want, which is not the case with other products because they're using SQL, so you have to shut down every station in order to do a backup. So that means that if you do it once a day, which is normal, usually in dental offices, it means that if you're crashing or having a virus or malware, at the end of the day, you lost the entire day. With SafeCom, you can back up almost every minute if that's what you want. So you can limit your losses to that minute. So those are on the technical side, very powerful features that can benefit everybody. On the feature side, it's all the on-the-go template that I was showing with a sensor, which makes it unique. Using only standards, nothing proprietary, no APIs, very unique. Using the voice activation to trigger either X-ray or camera or video devices. The auto capture on cameras, very unique. When it comes to phosphor plate with ScanX, multiple patient scan, multiple provider scan, and being able to retrieve any raw image at any point in time. So if you lost some image somehow, you were able to delete, which you can't, because we don't offer a delete feature on the program. You can go back 2 years from now and bring the raw image back and reprocess in the program. Plus, tools, day-to-day tools that are, just whatever is needed is in there. And integration with management software like Dentrix, which is a seamless integration directly on chart. And that's why a lot of times when somebody that is on SafeCom, they're certainly seriously looking into switching to management software because they can see the difference it makes on the exam and everything else by using two products that marry together to perfection. So I don't know if that answers the question.
No, thank you for summarizing again. That was great. Thank you so much. The next question is, if we do not deal with Schein, can we purchase SafeCom?
Yeah, SafeCom is a Schein product, but can be sold for any customer, it integrates with every management software in the market.
Got it. Thank you. Next question is, what happens if I wish to switch imaging software? Do I have to run two separate software?
We, as a company, are probably the only company in the market that does convert all the old data from every imaging software out there, even the ones that are encrypted. We can decrypt their data and bring them over. There is certain limitations in some of them. You cannot receive the tooth numbers, but we have a template style that you can drop images instead of giving them a standalone, which gives the tooth numbers automatically on the old data. But we convert every imaging software into SafeCom.
Okay, got it. Maybe there's somewhere else to get an official list, but one of the questions are, what practice management softwares does SafeCom integrate with?
All of them.
All of them?
Every single one of them, yeah. If we don't have a bridge, or if the company, the management software is charging you for the bridge, then we can build an external bridge to that software. All of them do have it, but some have decided lately to charge for bridges so they can make an extra dollar. So in that case, we'll actually build an external bridge so the customer doesn't have to pay that extra money.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for answering that question. The next question is, can I use the camera on my phone?
Which camera? You mean intraoral camera?
I don't know. One of the questions where I'll try to ask them to elaborate. I'll type in, but maybe as part of the software, they're just asking, can they use a camera on their phone to get the images and then use the software with those photos?
It depends on what camera. I mean, if you're talking about an iPhone or Android phone, then you're only limited to what that phone allows you. You can't run an internal camera because the drivers of the cameras are not built for Android or Windows. Like, you have to have a driver for the operating system in order to have a device to connect to that system. So what we're talking about running these images on a Mac is that the database, after it's been captured, can be viewed on Mac, iPhone, whatever, anything directly. But to run a device live, you have to have a driver for that specific operating system. In your phone it's Mac or the Android operating system or whatever you're using, that you need to have a driver. So for Mac, there are certain devices, like Planmeca, for example, or some of the Acteon ones that do have Mac drivers, but most of the dental devices do not have drivers except Windows drivers.
Right, so it wouldn't be compatible. I understand. And one of the dentists here asked, can I send documents from SafeCom?
Yeah, documents, yeah. Yeah, you can send anything, documents, images, 3Ds, anything. You can send them with file transfer.
Got it. Okay. Let me just check if there's any questions I missed. One of the questions was, does Messenger work on my phone?
Again, the Messenger is also a Windows product. We have an iPad version of it, but it's not used by almost anybody. Like most 99% of our customers are Windows. That's why we haven't put any any effort on making a Mac or Android version of the Messenger. The way we actually connect though is on a smartphone, we have a service that we use because instead of you using SMS, which is very expensive, you can get very expensive for every message. We use a transfer through a SMTP server that any message you send within the Windows network, you can send it to your watch or to your iPhone or wherever you have access to. So let's say if you have access to your email on your iPhone, the messages will come at that email exactly the way you see it in the operatories. So you'll say your next patient arrived, operatory 2 or whatever. So you can actually access or receive them in any device through that transfer service.
Okay, got it. What's the cost for an office for a SafeCom?
It all depends on the scenario. Like depends on if there's a conversion involved, if it's a brand new office, if they want to use the products as standalone, let's say the messenger or the file transfer. So it's a little bit more complex, but with the Dell group, we have a discount, and probably and Dr. Dave knows better. I do the technical part. I don't deal with the pricing structure, but I know that we have a discount with customers that are from the Dell group.
Okay. There's a follow-up question to the earlier question. We only use a phone camera to take images, I guess intraoral images. How do we download the images into SafeCom?
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. You can do it wirelessly, directly through Wi-Fi, or you can do it by just plugging the phone on the computer, and you'll just import it right in from your iPhone.
Perfect. Okay, that answers that. Looks like that's all the questions we have. Was there another part to the presentation, or I can ask Dr. Dave if he has any questions or testimonials?
Yeah. As I said, if we can go over features, I don't think there's a point going to a lot of features unless you want to spend another 2 hours with it. But
Right.
features are day-to-day features, how to import images, how to bring things in and out, the program, how to capture, how to diagnose, how to view them side by side, right? And tools that you can use, which, you can do ortho stuff like rotating images, cropping images,
Right.
and adjusting, entering filters. So that's why I'm saying like there's a lot of features on the program, but the main, I was trying to focus mostly on the main principles of the software rather than the small details.
Right. No, it was a great demo. I think it was awesome that you didn't have too many slides, but you went right into the program and showed it. So that was great. What did you think, Dave?
Yeah, no, I really liked it. Like I said at the beginning, I've converted over to SafeCom already, and it's what I did was Ted set up a Twain drive or set up a bridge into my existing software, but I'm switching to Dentrix in about a month here. So I was able to switch to SafeCom, do that conversion first, and then convert my practice management system over to Dentrix. And then I'm actually excited to see how it all integrates nicely together. And I'm still learning the software, but it's definitely, honestly, it's the best one that I've used. About the third one that I've used in the different offices I've been in, and it's the most intuitive and the easiest display, and so I find it the most useful for what I do anyway. It was good. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, I think that wraps up the webinar for tonight. Then, thanks so much, Ted.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Doctor.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. I appreciate it. And like Ted said, of pricing with the dental buying, and so we can't really share that kind of stuff without non-disclosure agreements and whatnot. But if anyone wants to find out more, they can go to the website, dentalbuyingnetwork.com, and then fill out the non-disclosure at the bottom and send a question in on our text message service, and we can help you out that way.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. This session is recorded, so we'll find a spot to put it online. And so if anyone missed it, they can always reference it. So I have a recording of it. And thanks, everyone, for coming. See you guys on the next webinar.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.